Hi. So before we jump into a practical example of using these chords that we've been talking about, I wanted to throw one more chord at you, one more kind of chord at you while we're on the topic of it. These are called suspended chords. Suspended chords is when you add a 2, so the second scale degree, into the chord. Now we just did ninths, and we know that if we count up the scale to a ninth, it ends up at the same pitch as a 2. So let's look here. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That ends me on an F sharp. Which if I start over from the 1 and I go to the 2, it's also an F sharp. So if we put it on the top, we're more likely to call it a ninth. If we put it at the bottom or inside of the chords, the notes that we already have, we would call it a 2. And for 2s, we call them suspensions. The reason they're called suspensions is they have this quality of, it's sort of like being suspended. It has an unstable quality, like it's just kind of hanging there, is a good way to put it. Much more common to use these on major chords. So here's a minor, diminished major. Let's throw one on here. So it's going to be a 2. So I'm going to add the 2. So I have the root, the second, the third, and the fifth here. So let's add it also. Let's see, these two are minor. Let's add it here to be to this major chord. And this is a major chord. Okay, so on all the major chords, I've added a suspended 2. And what we call that, or the way we write that, is like this. So let's see here. For this chord, we would take, the name of the chord is G. So we would call it G sus 2. Make sure that's a 2. G sus for suspended 2. G sus 2 means it's a major chord with a 2 in it. So here's how the whole thing sounds with just those major chords. I've added a 2 to them. So let me focus just in, see if I can play just one of these. So it has this like unfulfilled feeling to it, but yet kind of in a major way, which is why we like them more on major chords. Suspended 2s. You have to be careful with suspended 2s and suspended 4s. Any suspended chord, it can sound like kind of new age really fast. If you listen to like a nature CD or like a yoga CD where they're just like playing this like schmaltzy music and blah blah blah, nothing against it if that's what you're into, but it's a lot of just these like suspended chords going on forever and ever and ever, so that they always sound really happy and unfulfilled, like they just keep moving forward. So be leery of using like all these suspended chords all the time. Let's do a suspended 4. So I'm going to take this away. I'm going to add the 4th scale degree. And I'll do that same thing here. And the same thing here. Let's hear those. So that has a little bit more dissonance to it, but it's still that same kind of like, the chord is a little bit like throwing a ball up in the air and then waiting. Like it's got that feeling of like, is it going to come down or what? So if we use those over and over and over, we get this kind of waiting feeling. But those are suspended chords. So if you want to throw a 2 or a 4, we call them suspended chords, and that's how they work.